Hi, I'm Gary, and I want to show you how I use Cloudy. Okay, let's talk about some ways to actually run Cloudy. We begin with the base of the download. These are our normal files. We'll cd into source, and then we'll go down to sys LOVM, where we built the code last time. If you do an ls on sys, you'll find all these object files. And in the upper left-hand corner there, you can see a cloudy.exe. So that's our executable. So the next step is going to be to run Cloudy to perform some kind of science. So I'm going to go over next the way I use Cloudy in a very facile, paper-friendly way that I think works very well for my case. What we do here is we're going to take the Cloudy commands that were discussed in all across all of Hazy 1, and we're going to set up the physics case that we're trying to solve. So that's going to be in a file called name.n, planetarinebula.n, test.n. So the .n file has the input. And then we're going to run Cloudy from the command line as shown here with the /cloudy.exe. And Cloudy reads from standard input and writes to standard output. So in Unix speak, we'll do the caret test.in into test.out. So what this means is we ingest the commands in test.in and spill out our calculations into test.out. So the output goes into test.out and is described in Hazy 2, Chapter 1. This is the one way to do it, and it's a clumsy way, and it's only done while building Cloudy to make sure things are okay. There's a slew of other options to set up other ways to run Cloudy, and to see these options, just run Cloudy once with the -H option for help. And when you do that, you'll find a screen full of command line options that allow you to run Cloudy in different ways. The way I do it is the -R option. There's many other ways. And so I would run Cloudy with -R. So that flag says to read the name test and add the .in and the .out. So that means that test -R test would read from test.in and would write to test.out. So that's a facile way of getting around some of these things. So what we're going to do next is see how it is we'll do that at the command prompt. Okay, so here we are deep in sys LLVM. Lots of object files here. If you scroll up and try to find what we're after, coming up here in red is cloudy.exe. So that's what we're going to try to execute. There's two ways to do this, more than two ways to do this. First test we're going to see quite a bit is to use a file with the input called .in. So I shall write, going to make a test.in file. There it is. Test.in has only the smoke test, the word test. And one way to run Cloudy is to explicitly write out the executable name with the -R and then write the first part of the test name, test.in, just test. The -R option causes it to read the .in and it'll write to the .out. Done. So let's have a look at what the test.out has at the end. It ran okay. So there's a good test. Okay, so in this local directory, you can run a project, you can create input and output, but this is a very cluttered directory. I hate to have to work with all those other files in a way. So let's go somewhere else. I'm going to go to a directory called bin, and I'm going to create a test.in here. There's test.in, word test. Okay, we have a smoke test, test.in. Now from here, we can run Cloudy, but we got to figure out where Cloudy is. So you'd have to type out all of this long string you see at the bottom to drill all the way down below syslvm. There's cloudy.exe. And then there's the -R option, which means we just have to give the word test and it will write the test.out. So let's run it. Hit finish, make sure it's okay. And it is. So there's one last way, and it's the way I use the most by far, is to create a small run script. So I will type it out here. It just has the name run. We'll talk about it next. And what is inside this script in this file is the full path all the way to the Cloudy executable. followed by the -R means we're going to only specify the base name of the file, followed by $1. $1 is the argument. When you type run test, the word test will be in $1. And so you were using -R. So if you write run test, it'll read -R test, and it will read from N and write to .out. The error goes then to test.error in this file. So it's much easier to run this. We'll just type run test, and there it goes. You could do this anywhere on your disk. You could do this on a portable drive that's attached to your computer. So it makes it very, very easy and facile to run Cloudy in a research environment. There it is. Let's have a look at the end. And it ran okay. So let's see how to set up run on your computer so that you can run Cloudy from anywhere. Okay, let's see how to set things up so that we can run Cloudy anywhere we like on our computer. So what we need to do is tell the operating system that our bin directory has a lot of scripts that we want to use anywhere. And then we want to create a run file. Here's the contents of the run file we just discussed. We want to put that in the bin directory. Once we create the run file with its contents, we have to make it executable so that the operating system knows to do something with it. You do that with the chmod command, user group other plus X. So we've got that done. Now the next part is to make it so the operating system can find the bin directory and the files that are inside it anywhere on your computer. So we have to modify one of the setup files for the shell that controls the operating system. So on a Mac, you're probably using the Z shell as done by default. On Ubuntu, you're probably using the bash shell that comes by default. You can change the shell among anything you like. So the setup file is .zshellrc for Z shell and .bashrc for bash. In both cases, what you want to do is carefully add this export line to the very end of the RC file. So what this does is takes the path where the computer is going to look, and it modifies the path by putting at the front of the path is going to be the bin directory, the home directory of bin. It's going to be that bin directory. The colon path means then put in the rest of the path. So the bin directory will be the first place the operating system looks. Whenever we log into the computer after doing this, it will automatically pick up the path. But if you want to just test it without logging out, logging back in, you would do that by typing source and then the name of the RC file. So once you've done that, no matter where you are on the computer, you can run Cloudy in special localized directories.